Welcome all. I'm Redbeard, joined by my partner in crime, Targo. Join us as we take a journey through this crazy weekend in the world of football, from headbutts to age fraud to new stadiums to broken toes.
And that's not all. We had a massive weekend in the title race in the Premier League with titanic showdowns galore. And it makes us ask the question, who are the 10 best footballers in the Premier League right now? This and so much more on an all-new episode of Brews and Banter, and it starts also right now.
What's up, man?
How are ya?
Dude, I'm jacked. As of this recording, the Arsenal Champions League match has just finished. You guys that are listening, that will be next week. We'll cover all of that, so make sure you tune in for that. But, man, I'm buzzing right now.
Oh, yeah, we will cover a whole round of 16 and the new draw that will be coming up. So that's next week. But yes.
Insert plug here, yeah.
Yes.
So, my friend, to celebrate this amazing week that has been, what are you drinking?
Someone might shock you, man. I am drinking Lucky Envelope Brewing Peanut Butter Cream Stout.
Ooh.
Not my typical beer that I drink.
I know, that's something more up my alley.
That is right up your alley. What's funny is I saw it and thought of you, so I was like, oh, I'll get that and drink it in your honor.
Thank you. I feel blessed. Do I take a bow now, or do you just drink a beer? I don't know.
They have a little description, so I'll read that.
Okay, that sounds good.
It says, real peanut butter infused with cocoa, coffee, and light roast flavors of our cream stout. Lactose and flaked oats add a smooth creaminess to balance out bold, dark malts, creating a perfect beer to enjoy year-round. I guess I'll be the judge of that.
So, while you're tasting this, most peanut butter stouts do not have oats and lactose in it, so I'm very interested to see what you think.
It is creamy. I think I do like the cream aspect. It is obviously the coffee. I'm not the biggest coffee flavor guy, but it's not bad.
Yeah. Is the peanut butter taste pretty strong in it?
I forgot there was peanut butter in it, so no, not really.
No. Because usually with those beers, the peanut butter, that's really all you taste. So I would assume by the fact that you could taste coffee that it wasn't a predominant flavor there.
No, but it's not bad.
Okay. What are you giving it?
Well, you know how I feel about it, so I'll give it a 6.
That's better than I thought you would.
Yeah. I would drink it again in a pinch. I'll put it that way.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're in a pinch and I'm there, I'll drink it for you. So
there you go. Yes. Yes, you would.
All right. Today I have Anderson Valley Brewing Company Black Light, 95 calorie, low carb, dark beer. With a beer.
A beer. For those of you not on YouTube, on the Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it's a bear with some antlers, so it's a beer.
It's a beer.
How is your Black Light beer?
It's very good, actually. Most light beers suck, so I will say this is pretty darn good. It's very reminiscent of Irish Death, just not quite as heavy. So
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna go 8.5 out of 10. I will definitely buy this again if I'm, looking to watch my girlish figure.
Well, you always are, so.
That's fair. I work out so I can drink. Speaking of which, let's get into it, shall we? But first, a word from our sponsor.
Today's episode is brought to you by Acorn Hills Clothing Company. Sustainable clothing, biodegradable packaging, tree planted for every purchase, and a percentage of their sales donated to charities.
Yeah, and that's not even the best part. They give you these plantable clothing tags with every purchase. Pretty much greatest idea ever.
That is
scan
awesome.
The QR code right here for planting instructions. So make sure you go to www.acornhillsco.com and use Brews15. That is BREWS at checkout for 15% off and have your tree planted today.
Yes, don't forget to use our code Brews15 at checkout for 15% off. This is one you don't want to miss, guys.
All right, let's actually get into this now. We got some funny headlines coming up this week. I don't know where they came from. First off, the Cameroonian Federation has suspended 62 players
62.
due to age fraud and double identity.
Age fraud and double identity. Okay. So are they saying they're much younger than they actually are, or what's going on there?
No. Well, yes, they are saying they're much younger than they actually are. Most notably, Wilfred Nathan Douala, who played for Cameroon in the African Cup of Nations, claiming he was 17. I'm not going to lie, this motherfucker looks like he's 40.
What's his name?
Wilfred Nathan Douala.
Let me look him up.
Douala. He looks like he's 40. Says he was 17.
Okay, let's look at the pictures. They said he was 17?
He said he was 17.
Oh my god, no, he does not look 17. His receding hairline's worse than ours.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I found it hilarious.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like 40.
40's being nice.
It is being nice.
All right, to stick with the funny headlines in football this week, in the Serie A relegation race, Lecce head coach Robert D'Aversa apparently pulled a Zidane and headbutted the Hellas Verona striker Thomas Henry.
The opposing team striker just headbutts him.
Yeah,
I did see this one,
Yeah. Apparently, I mean, Verona won the match 1-0. It's not really that much of a relegation battle, but both teams are not far off. Apparently, he was arguing with a Verona defender, and instead of letting one of his players intervene and getting, a yellow or a red card, he just decided to take matters in his own hands and headbutted the first player that walked up to him, which was Thomas Henry.
Okay. I did see he has since been fired. Let him go.
I mean,
after this
you can't stay on as a coach of a major football team after headbutting an opposing team's player.
No, you
maybe,
can't.
Player not.
That's wild.
Okay. Next up, to more serious matters, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has announced Manchester United are looking into options whether to improve Old Trafford or build a new 90,000-seat stadium to regenerate the Old Trafford area of Manchester. Before I go into his thoughts, what are yours?
I don't hate the idea of building a new stadium. I'd have to see how old is Old Trafford. I mean, it's got old in the name, so
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty old. They haven't really done any improvements to it. I mean, I've heard lots of stories of, toilets backing up on match days, sewage being all over the place, leaky roofs, seats falling apart, blah, 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 blah.
So, yeah, they've been playing there since 1910.
Yeah. I mean, it's had quite a few renovations.
But... Yeah, it's been renovated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah.
I think it's time. They could probably use a new one.
Okay. Well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is also in favor of building a new stadium. With having seen what happens to teams financially when this happens, I mean, we see Tottenham haven't been able to spend as freely, not that they did anyways, after building their £1 billion stadium. Arsenal took them years to be able to spend any money after building the Emirates. Would this be something that they should do, or should they look to, get a little bit more better cash flow first?
I would say just go for it. Do it, man. Just do it.
And then
the success will come. It's Manchester United. He's got a whole plan in place for getting them back into Champions League, getting them top of that Premier League. You need your new fancy stadium to look good doing it, right?
Yeah, well, that also begs a question. Would they even be able to get 90,000 people to watch this team play?
This team, probably not, but his future team, that's what they're banking on. You know how these billionaires are, man. They don't see next year. They see 15, 20 years into the future.
An investment into the club's future. Yeah. Speaking of not in club's futures, apparently Thomas Tuchel broke one of his big toes during his his pre-match team talk against Lazio in the Champions League. He was treated immediately and sat on the bench the entire match, and then in his post-match press conference put his boot up on the table.
Yep, I saw that.
Can this guy catch a break?
A broken toe, that's the break he can get.
Get it? Yeah,
But
I mean, I don't know.
So I guess my question is he was trying to motivate his players, because we know this has been a fairly lackluster Bayern Munich. Trying to get them riled up to go face Lazio at the Allianz. Do professional players need to be rallied like that? Shouldn't they just know that they have to go out there and do a job? You have experienced players like Harry Kane, Thomas Muller. I mean, Joshua Kimmich has lots of experience. I mean, Manuel Neuer.
Yeah, they have experience all over the pitch. My problem with that is, I mean, what happened in the first leg? Do they need motivating? No, they lost 1-0 to Lazio in Italy. So I would say maybe a gentle reminder. Yeah, but I mean, how foolish do you look breaking your toe while giving a team a gentle reminder?
I can see it at halftime if you're pissed off. Your team's playing like shit.
Yeah,
and
kick
you
something.
A door.
Yeah,
kick a wall.
but a
whatever.
pre-match, I guess. So I don't know.
Did you also see that rumor of him he might be returning to Chelsea here?
I did not, but I mean, what a 360 U-turn. That's not even like a 180. That's like you fire him, go around in the circle, and then Todd Bowley will probably fire him after another 10 games if he gets hired. So I doubt
it happens, but it was just a funny rumor to see out there.
Yeah,
him returning.
That is hilarious.
But let's get to the Premier League, man. We had Bournemouth, who came back from 2-0 down to scrape out a draw at Sheffield United. Sheffield kicking themselves again, up 2-0, and they lost it.
I know. And the worst part is, I was thinking, oh my God, they've given up a record number of goals, are on their way to, and yet they were still off the bottom of the table after this point. I don't understand it.
They were, when they were up 2-0, they were actually not the worst team in England.
Well, even after the draw, because, they played before Burnley did. They were off the bottom of the table. It's mind-boggling. Yes, I said bottling. It's like your mind in a bottle.
Okay, I don't know what that means. Okay, we'll move on to, I guess, another match. Going back to Man United. They hosted Everton. They won 2-0 thanks to a couple of PKs won by Mr. Alejandro Garnacho. Bruno Fernandes takes the first one. Marcus Rashford the second. They won 2-0. Pretty obvious PKs for you?
Yeah, pretty simple calls. Ref had a good view of it.
But there was someone, I wanted to bring someone up. You may have forgotten this player. He has returned to full training. Mason Mount.
He just adds to a long list of terrible signings from Manchester United. But yeah, I mean, he's still alive. I guess he just returned to training this week. But...
So I saw this headline and I had completely forgot Mason Mount existed, if I'm being honest. I was like, shit, Mason Mount? I
still don't think he gets into this team.
This team's trash.
As bad as they are. That's what I'm saying. So why should you give a shit about him? I don't know.
Garnacho and Højlund are the only bright spots of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. Luton, man, with the last header kick of the game, got a draw against Crystal Palace.
Man, I love Luton so much, dude.
They
fight so hard all the way until that final whistle. You could just see it. You could just see it coming. Brought on Andres Townsend, and you knew exactly what he was doing when he got on that final ball.
But what a difference between Luton and, say, the Burnleys and Sheffields. Like, Luton are fighters, man. They never give up. I love that. I hope they stay up. They're currently in the relegation zone, sitting in 18th, 21 points, but they do have a game in hand, so they could be level on points with Nottingham Forest if they win that game. And with Nottingham Forest, we'll see if they get some...
I believe it's against Bournemouth, their game in hand.
I believe it is as well, but Forest, they also have those points deduction kind of looming over them. We'll see.
Will it, won't it? Yeah, we'll see. Should be interesting.
But I did watch that game, and honestly, Palace should have won it.
100%.
They were in control of that game the whole time.
Yeah. How they only scored one goal, and it was a beautiful goal, might I add. by Mateta. But
Yeah, a little back heel.
They should have won that match easily.
And then we had Wolves cruise to a 2-1 win over Fulham to stay in the top half of the table. Wolves, man.
Yeah, man.
Gary O'Neill, manager of the season?
He's definitely in the running, man. Especially taking over a mess that Luke Tiggy left him beginning of the season. And man, he's doing a fantastic job with Wolves. I mean, the way they counter, it almost seems like they could beat any team on their day.
And they played this game without Mateus Cunha and that Korean guy, Hee-Chang
Wan.
Wang
Hee-Chan. Yeah.
Wang Hee-Chan, whatever it is, Hee-Chang Wan.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, they're playing some fantastic football. I love to watch it. They were up 2-0. Fulham scored a late consolation goal.
Iwobi. That's who scored.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at West Ham as they struggled against Burnley. They drew 2-2. But how about that Fofana strike, man?
That Fofana strike, dude. That was out of nowhere. One touch, back of the net, top corner. Hot damn.
Damn, what a rocket.
Hot damn, what a rocket. Yeah.
And then we had a Forest own goal help Brighton stumble to a 1-0 victory at the Amex.
Yeah, big 3 points for them. I mean, they were on a slide there for a while.
They needed that, yeah.
They needed those 3 points, especially at home. And, they got some big games coming up. I mean, they got, City in 3 weeks coming to the Amex. So
that was postponed. So they go to Roma.
Where they're down 4-0.
They are down 4-0. Then they have Liverpool, Brentford, Arsenal.
That's it. Yeah. And then a City game somewhere. Probably late April.
Sprinkled in there, yeah.
Yeah. Which is, they got a tough schedule coming up, so they needed those 3 points.
And as we mentioned, Forest, will they get relegated?
Will they get a points deduction? Will they not? At this point, I'm leaning towards they're going to get relegated without the point deduction because of how Luton is battling to just get points. So, or at least stay in games.
They do stay in games. They're not getting blown out. Unless it's the FA Cup.
And if I'm not mistaken, let me double check this, but I think they play Forest this weekend. They play, as of this recording, they play their makeup game against Bournemouth tomorrow. And then they do play Forest at home.
On the 16th.
This weekend. Yeah. So
those are a couple big games, man.
Yeah. Couple of games this weekend with the FA Cup quarterfinals happening. So should be a huge week for Luton.
Yes.
And Forest.
All right. Well, let's move on to that team. You're repping their jersey right now. Arsenal. They hosted Brentford at the Emirates and won 2-1. What a game. This was an interesting one. Arsenal came out flying, putting the pressure, got that goal early through a Declan Rice header.
Yeah, man. His 6th of the season. That's more than he's scored in the last 2 seasons with West Ham combined, which was 5, by the way.
I actually looked that up. I saw that in our notes here, and I was like, is that for real? It is. It was for real.
Yeah, I get these stats out my ass, man.
Sometimes I think you do, but not this one. Brentford equalized, though, through a Aaron Ramsdale mistake. Got caught on the ball. Visa chasing it down, puts it in the net right before halftime. Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for him because he was looking for a midfield outlet to play the ball to. Looks up, looks down, looks up, doesn't see anybody, goes to clear it, and by that time, Visa has closed the gap, and yeah, I mean, what effort from him to get to that ball. But again, we've seen it in Aaron Ramsdale's performances since he's been pretty much demoted. Poor guy. I feel for him in what probably is going to be his last game for Arsenal.
Probably, but he did have a couple nice saves in the second half.
Did he
saved
make
the
up
nice
for
header from Collins?
Yep.
And then that Ivan Toney one, man, from almost half field. Whew,
that probably is the strike of the season that doesn't go in the net.
That was one heck of a strike.
I mean, let's be honest. I have a question. Do you think David Raya saves that?
No, but I also don't think David Raya makes that mistake at the end of the first half.
That's true. But I mean, even if Ivan Toney gets that shot off and it's 1-0, I don't think he saves that. And that ball looked like it was going top corner.
Maybe, but I think that goal just before halftime, that rallied Brentford.
Oh,
Because
it
that
did.
whole
100%.
first half was all Arsenal. And so getting a goal, they didn't have to then go for the game. They could sit back in the second half and try to counter. So there, it's big what ifs.
Bunch of what ifs.
But not Declan Rice, but Kai Havertz.
King Kai.
Cobra Kai. He gets a header late on, what was the 80-something minute?
86th minute. His second game winner against Brentford this season. The last one was in the 92nd minute?
Yeah, it was late.
Whew! Has he officially silenced his haters and proven that he's worth $65 million?
I don't know, man. So here's the thing. Here's my beef with Kai Havertz, let's say. Yes, he's coming up with the goals, important clutch goals. I mean, he's gotten us 6+ points already this season. He's getting some assists. His play is better. I think there's just something about him I don't care for. I don't know what it is. You know what?
I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's his nonchalant way of playing.
It is. I think
it's almost like he's too comfortable and too cocky about his play, but like he also semi backs it up.
But again,
also,
semi.
All those
only
moments
semi.
before that, you're like, please do something.
Because he has misses, and I guess that's where it's like
in this match he had a couple of sitters, so
I guess that's my issue with it. Is he worth $65 million? I would still probably say no. But I mean, if that's $65 million wins Arsenal the title, then obviously it was worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put that question on the back burner and I'll ask you that at the end of the season.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. But with a relatively healthy squad in the likes of Tomiyasu, Timber, and a potentially healthy Thomas Partey back in first-team training, do Arsenal have the advantage in this title race?
I mean, it's theirs to lose, right? They're in first. They have superior goal difference. If they lose to Manchester City, they're probably out of the title race. But if they beat Manchester City, then I don't see anyone stopping them the rest of the season. So again, it's theirs to lose, but also their next game is against Manchester City. So who they have yet to beat at the Etihad in how many tries? Like, it's something ridiculous in the Pep Guardiola era. So they beat them once this season, but that was at home. We know Arsenal are a different animal at home than they are away this season. So be interesting to see.
We'll talk about more about the title race here when we get to the Liverpool Man City game.
Yeah. We got a whole bunch of games to get through still.
Let's start with the race for fourth place. Aston Villa, Tottenham Hotspur. This one ended 4-0 in favor of Spurs. Did you see that coming?
Ooh, no, not at all. And it's not just the score line. It's how good Spurs were in this match. Like, they absolutely tore up Aston Villa at Villa Park, where Villa has beaten the likes of Arsenal, Manchester City, even given Liverpool something to think about. So, I mean, this is not a team that you would think would lose 4-0 at home.
Have they played Liverpool at home?
No, not yet. I guess
I'm gonna say,
at Anfield, they gave them some issues. But, yeah, it's crazy to think that Spurs look this good getting, some of their best players back, finally.
So I'll counter you, man. I'm going to say Aston Villa just looked that bad. I didn't like Unai Emery's lineup. He went with a back five instead of a back four, which he's been playing with. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking they're in Europe, European game right before this one. I think that had something to do with it. Maybe he had some tired players, some heavy legs. But I didn't like the lineup. I thought Villa looked flat, out of energy. And so I would almost say that was more why they lost that game versus Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has something to do with it, right? Like, they look slow, unimaginative in attack. They had a couple of chances, but
the
even
first
only
half,
Watkins.
yeah,
didn't look the same player in this match. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Unai Emery got this one all wrong. But Spurs just looked so good once they got the ball. They always looked like they were going to score once they got into the attacking third. So,
And they had some good goals here from Son, Timo Werner, Madison. Who was the last one?
Couldn't tell you.
It was Brennan Johnson. That's who it was.
There you go. Yeah, he was the second goal. Yeah.
But they scored 2 quick goals within 3 minutes of each other, and then a couple late goals there at the end. Kind of put Villa away. But I guess one of the main talking points was the red card in this game. Aston Villa,
sandwiched right in between those 2 sets of goals.
Yeah. John McGinn getting straight red for his tackle on Destiny Udogie. Was it a red card for you?
Duh. Okay, so before this happens, I mean, Villa has a perfect opportunity to score, and Ollie Watkins misses it. Yeah. And you can just see from the other side of the pitch, John McGinn just fuming about the fact that he missed. And you could see this tackle coming from, 15, 20 yards away. You knew he was not going for the ball.
I thought you were going to say 15, 20 miles away, man, because that's about
probably,
what it was. He was charging, and you saw him. He was just going to clean him out. And he kicks it. It was... I think it's a bit of a harsh red. I guess I would give it red.
It's violent conduct and intent to injure, but I mean, it's not like he swung his boot at him to clear out his legs. No, he just went through him.
No, I think he swung his boot out for sure. He definitely swung his boot out, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's not like a blatant kick.
But for me, it was definitely a blatant kick.
My point is not getting across here, but okay.
He kicks out like it's one of those players running away from you. You kick their foot to trip them up. He just went in, I think, with a little too much force, which is why it was a red. But, I mean, it wasn't studs up. I don't think Destiny Udogie's actually going to be injured from a tackle like that.
No, just maybe the wind knocked out of him, like he got hit by a car.
Because, I mean, you can see him. Udogie, he stands right back up and then realizes,
starts moving. And then
wait,
down.
Maybe I should be hurt here. And he goes back down.
Yeah, I mean, there was no argument from John McGinn. He was just like, what? And then he's like, yeah, okay, that was a red. I meant to do that. He went off. A little brawl ensued. Whatever. But, yeah, it was a red card. It's just frustrations. I mean, you could see it in the entire Villa squad.
Yeah, it was total frustration.
Yeah.
So, who has the edge for this last UEFA Champions League spot? I believe currently it's going to the Bundesliga.
Okay.
So do you think England can get that last spot? Can these English teams start surviving in Europe?
Well, we'll see. It's going to be in the later stages of all the European competitions at this point. I mean, it looks like Brighton's out to an Italian team. So Italy's going to get one of them because of the amount of teams they've had in the later stages of European tournaments. I mean, they had 3, 1 in each final last season. Still have almost all of their teams in this competition this season, except for, I guess, never mind, that's for next episode. All right, gotcha.
Yep, we'll save it. Okay.
Yeah, both teams still have to play the big 3, the top 3 above them, whether it's at home or away. I got to give it to Spurs, man. Other than those games against the top 3, I don't see Spurs, unless they get a load of injuries, I don't see them dropping any points, as where Villa still has to play in Europe. They're looking tired already, and Spurs look like they just got a new lease on life.
So you're saying Spurs to get that final Champions League spot, that
fourth
place?
Yeah, 4th place. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, man. Spurs have a tough schedule as well. Like you said, their next 3 games are not next 3 games, but they have
end of April, first week of May. They play City, Arsenal, and then Liverpool at Anfield. So
and then Newcastle right before that.
And then Newcastle. So if they get the momentum going all the way until then, with the way that Villa's playing, I think they could probably jump them. I mean, they do have a game in hand. It is against Chelsea, so it's another derby. That can go either way. I just can't see this Villa team lasting out the season. I know I picked them to be my 3rd place team this year because I picked Chelsea to be 4th, and I'm already over that. I got that very wrong, and so did you. So,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
I hate to say it, but I'm going to go with Spurs.
I think so too. Just
I do have a
when,
question for you
when
though.
all their players are fit, man, they're just tough to beat.
They are, and with that said, all their players, they do play all of the teams above them. They're not mathematically knocked out yet. They're only 11 points back, first place. Could they still potentially be in the title race?
No.
Okay, just
Did
had to
you
get that
really
out
just
there.
ask me that?
I just had to get that out there.
No.
I feel
No.
better about my answer now. Thank
No,
you.
Spurs are not in a title race. Spurs are in a fourth spot race. I mean, I guess they could.
Mathematically,
Mathematically,
they're
they
not
are,
eliminated
but I mean, sure. But no, I do not think they're in a title race. We'll see if they can pick points off of either City, Arsenal, or Liverpool. I know they've kind of been a bugaboo team every once in a while for City.
Yeah.
They drew Arsenal at the Emirates earlier this season. As we know, they kind of had a bit of an unjust win over. I guess not a bit of an unjust. It was an unjust win over
Over
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
So,
But
I mean,
I
it's going to
will
be
ask
interesting.
to redeem my question to kind of follow up on it.
Okay.
Will they have final say on who wins the title, though?
No.
You don't think so? With
No.
them playing all these teams right at the back end of the title race?
No, I saw that whole thing posed on, social media. I've seen it like, oh, Spurs have a say in the title race. I mean, not really. I mean,
if
Arsenal...
they can beat one of these squads, then if not two, then they would definitely have a say in who wins the title.
How does that making them have a say in the title race if, for example, if Arsenal win all their games and Spurs beat Man City and Liverpool, it doesn't matter. Arsenal had the final say in the title race.
What I'm saying
what
is,
I mean?
if Arsenal, let's say Arsenal lose to City, and
Okay.
they win the rest of their games after that. Liverpool win all their games but lose to Spurs, right? City beat Arsenal and lose to Tottenham.
So I guess I see what you're saying that way.
What I'm saying
I
is
see
it
what
could
you're
be
saying,
up to that game. Yeah.
I don't think it will be, though.
Okay. Do you think the title will be nearly decided before that point?
No. Okay. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's so close. It's so close. This is almost one of those ones. Could it be decided on the final day? Potentially.
I sure hope so.
I don't...
Not for my anxiety levels, but I hope so, just for the sake of having a great title race down to the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's already been a great title race. I don't think it'll come down to the final day, but
no.
At the same time, I don't think Tottenham has a say in anything, if I'm being honest. As far as the title race,
cheers to that.
Is concerned. But let's get to the big game, man. Liverpool hosted Man City at Anfield. This one ended 1-1. Talk about quality on display.
I just can only sit here and applaud, because that was a fascinating match of two of the best teams in England, and what a tactical masterclass by both of these coaches in this match. Holy cow. Both teams lucky to get away with the draw, to be honest with you. And it was fantastic.
I mean, at the end, you had Doku hit the inside of the post, came back to
Kelleher.
Yeah. And then, of course, we had, I guess we'll start with the no call on that PK at the end. Jeremy Doku on Alexis McAllister.
You want to start there? Okay,
we'll start there.
We're going to bring the heat right off the bat.
Bring the heat, man.
Do I think that was a penalty? I mean, Jurgen Klopp certainly thinks so. Says it would have been a foul anywhere else on the pitch. I will say, in live play, I did not think it was a foul. It looked like Jeremy Doku got a piece of the ball, and then his follow-through got McAllister because they were both going for the ball.
So you
However,
said,
by the rule of the law,
replay, you thought it was.
Yes, I did, because his studs hit McAllister in the chest.
Kind of reminded me of Nigel de Jong against Xabi Alonso in the World Cup.
Yeah,
not
little
as
less
bad,
blatant,
obviously. Not
a
as
little less
bad,
blatant, but yeah, it did. I do think, I did.
I'll be quick with my response. Yes, I think it was a foul. Studs to the chest. I mean, I don't know how that's not dangerous play. I think that's more dangerous than John McGinn's tackle, if I'm being honest. That was a straight red card.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of... I know VAR, they gave it as two players coming together. I've seen people defend it. Doku got the ball. I mean, I don't care if you get the ball, man. You put your studs into a person's chest, that's a high boot.
Well, yeah, it's, at almost shoulder level, right? He, kicks him almost in the armpit. So, yes, that's dangerous play, and that's a high boot. So
not only do I think it's a foul, I think it's a yellow card, at the least.
I think a red card would have been harsh.
I think a red card would have been harsh,
yellow,
too. Yeah.
Yellow, definitely. I guess VAR didn't see.
I don't think the referee wanted the game to be decided on his call.
Yeah.
A foul. But at the same time, I also do think VAR should have had the had the ref go look at the monitor. They didn't do that either.
At least they're consistent with that.
Consistently bad at it. Yeah, they are. Don't we know? Seems like every week we have to talk about VAR.
Yeah. Or some sort of situation going against Liverpool, I guess. They've had their fair share of, decisions go their way as well. I mean, they did against Forest. But
they did have that one go their way, yeah.
Yeah. But they have had a lot go against them this season. I will give Liverpool fans that acknowledgement.
But as Arsenal fans, we were very thrilled with that draw, so...
Yep.
Glad that penalty wasn't given. Here's where the bias comes in. We did the unbiased part. Now we'll talk about our biased selves.
Right? And, honestly, as much as I wanted a draw, I wouldn't have been too sad if City won that match, just so that way, if Arsenal beats City, Liverpool's further behind them. But, it would also give City the confidence to just run the table the rest of the season. So I'm glad they don't have that.
Which they have done many times.
Yes.
But let's get into the game. So who is your man of the match for this game? We saw plenty of standout performances from some of these Liverpool players. They had a few players missing. As you mentioned, Kelleher in goal. Joe Gomez started this goal. Jero Kwanzaa. And
it was a surprising lineup.
Harvey Elliott started. So there's a few surprising players starting for Liverpool due to the injuries, I guess they have. But who is your man of the match for this game?
I mean, this one was so tough. I mean, you could have had Virgil van Dijk, who was everywhere. I mean, how vital is he to this squad with his leadership and presence?
There is a missing report out for Erling Haaland. He is stuck in Virgil van Dijk's pocket. His dad has been searching Anfield everywhere for him.
Right? You want to know how many touches Erling Haaland had in Liverpool's box in this entire match?
What, 2?
1.
Damn, I was so
1.
close.
The entire match. So, good on you, Virgil van Dijk.
See, that's one of those stats. I don't know if you're pulling it out of your ass or not. I don't know. I'll give it to you, though.
I don't. I see these stats places. I don't look them up myself. So
because I could believe you on that one because Erling Haaland was non-existent in this game.
Kelleher was fantastic, deputizing for Alisson. I mean, what a finger he got on that Jeremy Doku shot that hit the inside of the post. Like that ball was going in, 100%.
Could he be a first choice keeper somewhere else?
I definitely think so. I don't know if it's top half of the table, but he definitely could be.
A Brighton, a West Ham, Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, even Newcastle. I mean, Nick Pope's not getting any younger or healthier. So, yeah, it definitely could be at Chelsea. So, yeah, I mean, Luis Diaz, this guy, he might be the most exhausting person in all of football to watch. Because he runs so goddamn much and so hard. But if it wasn't for the missed chances, I would have picked him as my player of the match.
My
actual player of the match is going to go to Endo because he's here.
Shout.
He's there. He's every fucking where. Endo. God, man, what a signing he has been for Liverpool. The guy he doesn't put a foot wrong. He does his job and then goes home.
He does the simple things very well. Like when you look at him, he's not a silky smooth player. You don't think of like Szoboszlai or McAllister, but he gets his job and he does the simple things well, and he didn't make mistakes in this game.
Yeah, rarely have I seen him make a mistake all season. So yeah.
I saw a Crystal Palace match that worried me a little bit for him, but he has since that game turned it around and has looked very well, very good.
So yeah, he's my pick.
I want to give a shout out to Gerald Kwanzaa, man, center back, right next to Virgil van Dijk, young kid, 21. Yeah. I'm pretty sure years old,
somewhere around there. Yeah.
And you notice, again, wasn't noticed in this game very much, but that's what you want from a center back, not making any mistakes, doing his job quietly, thoroughly, and just did it very well. So I'll give a shout out to him, but I got to agree with Endo as far as man of the match goes.
Yeah, Gerald Kwanzaa, man, I was watching a couple other podcasts this week, and there's a couple of Liverpool fans and City fans that said if Gerald Kwanzaa started this match, Liverpool lose. Way to prove your doubters wrong as a kid, man. He's going to be up there for some years to come, so good on you.
Yes, he will be. So this was, it looks like, the final showdown, at least in the Premier League, between Klopp and Guardiola. We don't know. There could be an FA Cup showdown here coming up. But this was a good one, man. Is this one of the best rivalries in English football and the history of it? As big as Sir Alex and Wenger, as Mourinho?
I will say, as far as, tacticians go, I will say it might be up there with the likes of Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger. I mean, you saw what City did in the first half where they're pushing John Stones into midfield. They're dominating the midfield the first, 15, 20 minutes. And then Klopp makes a decision to push Connor Bradley further up the pitch, kind of overload that right side a little bit more. And it completely nullified John Stones' midfield. And I'll be honest with you, this match, I don't think I've ever seen Kevin De Bruyne so invisible in a match either.
It was. And I mean,
anything?
And that's why Kovacic came on.
Yeah.
And we could see De Bruyne was not happy about coming off.
I mean, I understand, right? He's a playmaker. It only takes one chance for him to create something or score a goal. But at the same time, he hadn't done anything all match, and I'm sure he was just frustrated with what had happened in the match.
Well, that and Man City were under pressure and needed another player in that midfield.
Yes, 100%. So, yeah, I would say it's the greatest rivalry since Sir Alex and Arsene Wenger.
Okay.
How about you?
I don't think it's that great, if I'm being honest. I think the team aspect of it is a great rivalry, but Guardiola and Klopp, I do not. They're too friendly, if I'm being honest. They're too friendly with each other. They hug, they, did their whole smiles, at the end of this game. You didn't get that with Sir Alex and Wenger or Wenger and Mourinho. They hated each other, man.
You certainly didn't get that with Mourinho and Wenger. Those two hated each other.
I want that kind of rivalry. I want the coaches to despise one another. I want there to be, some venom said at some of these press conferences, spewed at each other. I mean, Mourinho was great at it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's
probably
what I
the
want.
greatest ever.
So I don't think the coaches themselves is a rivalry. I think the teams are a rivalry.
Yeah.
They're two of the best teams that we've seen in recent years. But the coaches, no, I don't. I want to see coaches that don't hug at the end of a game. I want to see them completely ignore each other at the end of the game.
Well, unfortunately, I think those days, at least at the top of the Premier League, are probably over because, Arteta and Guardiola are going to be friends for the rest of their lives. But I will definitely say the Premier League will greatly miss Jurgen Klopp.
Oh, yeah. Definitely will.
But what a battle it's been. It's great football, great games of chess. I mean, they're both master tacticians, so it's been fun to see on the pitch. Like you said, I too like to see a little bit of venom between coaches, a little more drama in there, a little more fiery on the pitch, but I still love to see it.
It's two fantastic teams playing beautiful football.
Yep.
And this is going to be a title race for the ages, man. It makes this Arsenal-Man City game coming up at the end of March even bigger. Whoever wins that match, I think obviously has to be the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, City are overwhelming favorites to win the title. I think the bookies have them at like 46% just about. Liverpool's at 35% and Arsenal are at like 19%. Which, I'll be honest, is very disrespectful to Arsenal and the way they've been playing this season. I mean, they're top of the Premier League, best goal differential, but yet you give them the lowest chance to win the Premier League. And, like, it's almost half of Liverpool's chances with a team that's very young. Wasn't even talked about as winning the title in the beginning of the season. But, yeah, I mean, this is the closest race, 3-horse race in the history of the Premier League. It's going to be fantastic.
It is. It will be great. Now to move on to something that's more of our banter. Teams very much underperforming this season. We had Chelsea hosting Newcastle.
The disappointment derby.
On the Monday Nighter. This one ended 3-2 in favor of Chelsea.
Whew. Man, this game did not disappoint. I will say that.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. So Chelsea, they got off to a flying start through a Nico Jackson goal. Nice little flick from a Cole Palmer shot. Isak leveled it up. Chelsea scored again. Jacob Murphy Chelsea scored 2 more times through Mudryk. And wow, I'm blanking. Cole Palmer. That's right. Yeah. Right at the beginning of the second half. Mm-hmm. And then Murphy, right there at the end, gets one back.
What a goal it was. What a goal it was.
A blast, dude. That was a rocket.
I mean, come on for an injured Anthony Gordon and just take the ball and put it essentially where, Petrovic could not even get to it.
The spider makes its web.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a blast.
Fun fact, Nico Jackson now has as many goals as yellow cards.
Well, I'm glad he could catch up to that number.
Thank you for that one, Martin Tyler. I enjoyed that fact very much.
There you go. Look at you pulling a fact out your ass.
Hey, I didn't. Martin Tyler gave it to me.
That's how I get most of mine, too. So, thank you, John Champion.
There you go. So Newcastle with yet another player injured. Anthony Gordon, probably been their best player this season?
Oh, I would say by far. Yeah.
Yeah. They're struggling, man.
And it looked like a pretty bad knee injury. They were just moving his leg, and he, screamed in pain. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, it looked real bad. He's probably, I hope he's not out for the Euros, because that would be a travesty for the season he's been having.
Speaking of Euros, does Cole Palmer get into this England squad?
Starting lineup? No. I don't think he's far off from that, depending on how they line up. But why wouldn't you put him on the bench in the form he's been in?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun future episode. Euros preview.
There you go.
England starting lineup. So make sure you guys are following us on our socials. Facebook, Instagram. Maybe we'll post a little preview video for that one.
There you go.
But we mentioned it at the beginning of the episode. We're going to rank the 10 best Premier League players at the moment.
Not bust.
Bust. The best.
So yeah, with this title race going down to the wire and having us not have done this for a very long time.
And just seeing the display of talent that was that Manchester City Liverpool game.
Yep.
So I have to tell you something. So it was funny. So that game was on Sunday.
Mm.
I watched an MLS game on Saturday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So yes, repping the MLS Sounders jersey. I was watching an MLS game on Saturday, and then I watched the display of football from Man City and Liverpool, and it was just like, that's how it's supposed to be played.
I don't want to say I'll do you one better, but I watched the first ever game for the Spokane Velocity, the new USL 1 team here in Spokane, and let's just say they're awful. They lost 3-1, and that was maybe the most boring game I've ever watched in my entire life.
Hopefully you had some drinks during it to make it tolerable.
I did. It was actually probably the best margarita I've ever had in my life. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, pineapple ginger. Give it a try.
Now that we went off track, let's get back on
track. Now that we went on track, let's get back to it. We're going to rank the 10 best players in the English Premier League right now.
And I have not seen your list. I hope you haven't seen mine.
I have not, because it literally says here, do not scroll down. So I'm not going to look at your list at all. There's going to be some shocking admissions on this, and there's going to be some people left out that are going to make you blow your mind.
We'll probably get the usual comments, dumb Americans know nothing about football.
Yeah, or, listening to Americans talk about football is like putting milk in your beer.
Well, mine might have milk.
It's got oats and lactose, so yes.
Yeah, it's a cream stout, so there you go.
There you go. So it's actually not that bad. So there you go. Okay, my friend, I'm going to let you go
10.
first.
You're going to let me go first? Okay.
Yeah, you go first.
I'll do some honorable mention. No, I'll do the honorable mentions at the end. My number 10, Son Heung-min.
Heung-min Son?
Yeah.
that Korean guy?
The other Korean guy. Guys, he's great. Honestly,
he's so good.
I thought he could have gone to Real Madrid.
I don't see why he doesn't now.
My number 9, this could be a shocker, Erling Haaland.
No, it's not.
He's
playing so bad right now.
Compared to last season, yes, he's missed a lot of open chances, yeah.
And in big games, he has gone missing in a lot of them. So it's hard to put him higher up the list. Does he do anything special besides score goals? Does he create them himself?
It's the hardest thing
really.
Hardest thing in soccer, man, score goals.
Yeah.
But anyways, my number 8 is William Saliba.
How do you have him so low on your list?
Because
he's the best center back in the Premier League. How do you have him that low on your list?
Because I watched another center back play on Sunday that looked pretty darn good.
He did, but not as good.
Number 7, Ollie Watkins.
Okay. I had a hard time too, and I think he deserves to be on this list.
He does, man. The guy has played phenomenal this season. Double-digit goals, double-digit assists. Only player in the Premier League with that, so he has to be on the list. Number 6, you might hate me for this one, Declan Rice.
I don't hate you. He deserves to be on the list, and I would say, depending on your opinion of him, be higher. So anywhere around the top 5, 6, I would say is right, because it's so hard to choose between the rest of them.
My number 5, I might get some hate for this one, Mo Salah.
He's been hurt.
He's been hurt. He was at AFCON, and I think that's why he's that low. If you would have asked me this before AFCON, he probably would have been number 1. If I'm being honest.
Probably. I understand.
But football, it changes so much.
So you could ask us the same question in 6 weeks, and it would be completely different.
It will be.
So,
my number 4 is Virgil van Dijk.
Wow. And this is coming from the guy who said he's the most overrated player in all of football.
Last year he was, yes.
Last year, yeah. You did say that, though.
My number 3 is Phil Foden.
Wow. Which means I know who's above him.
My number 2, Bukayo Saka.
Knew it.
And my number 1 is Rodri. He, I think, is the heart of Manchester City. When he doesn't play, they lose. Every game he plays in, they have not lost.
Yeah.
I don't know how that doesn't make him the best. When he plays, they literally have not lost. Yeah. Ever. Now if there's a fire, he just doesn't lose.
Yeah. And they hardly ever draw as well. So.
And then some honorable mentions. James Maddison, Cole Palmer. I got to shout out Vicario. I thought it's had a fantastic season. Martin Odegaard, Dominic Solanke, and Douglas Luiz.
Okay. Those are some great honorable mentions. Okay, let's get to my list.
Yes, give me your top 10.
At number 10. First of his name, scorer of goals.
Oh, that
winner of trophies. Erling Haaland. Yes. This is why I agreed with you.
So he's my number 10. Only one spot short of me.
Yeah.
So.
However, he's the highest striker on my list. So
no Ollie Watkins then?
No Ollie Watkins. It hurts my soul that I don't have.
How do you not have... Okay.
Yep. Number 9, Phil Foden.
What?
Yep.
Didn't you just literally say last episode he's top 5 players in the Premier League?
Yeah, and then I watched that game against Liverpool where he did pretty much nothing.
So you're going to judge him based off one game that harshly?
Well, okay. So it's not judging him that harshly. It's the rest of the players that I think are better than him right now.
You literally changed your mind in a week. He went from top 5. You said, oh yeah, he's for sure top 5. So he's number 9.
Again, I was doing this list. I was doing this list, and it was very difficult.
Okay.
After watching some of the performances recently, I just...
What do you mean recently? Literally the last game?
Yeah, I wouldn't have had Virgil van Dijk on my list at all if it wasn't for the last game I watched him in.
Oh, man. I mean, Phil Foden literally scored 2 against Man United beginning of this month.
Or shit.
They are.
Yeah. I'm not saying... I'm
Got
saying
the winner against Bournemouth.
This is how close this entire list is.
Okay, well, give me your rest. Just get through it.
Number 8, Kevin De Bruyne.
You notice I left him off mine.
I know. And it's why I didn't say anything till now. And he almost didn't make my list, but the way he's played since he's come back from injury.
Which game?
All of them, except for the last one.
Definitely wasn't. What do you mean all of them? He's played
He's
like
got
2.
Since he came back, he has more assists in the entire league, or in the pretty much the world, than anybody else since he came back. He's got 12 assists in 12 games, if I'm not mistaken.
That guy has not even played 12 games. Let me look. He's played in 9 in the Premier League. 1 in the Champions League.
Okay. Well, I was wrong. But I'm pretty sure he still has 12 assists.
He has 5 in the Premier League. 1 in the Champions League.
FA Cup.
You're thinking FA Cup, man. Where he got
put that in there as well. All competitions.
We didn't say... Okay. We said Premier League, not all competitions.
Anyways, I'm just trying to back up my stat there. That's it.
That's one that you pulled out your ass.
Yeah. Number 7, Virgil van Dijk. Second highest center back on my list.
So you have Saliba higher. Okay.
Yeah, the next spot at number 6.
Okay.
He's the best center back. In my opinion, the best center back in the world right now. So he has to be on there. Number 5, a man you left off your list, and I don't know how. Martin Odegaard. I don't know how. The man dictates games. If it's not for him, Arsenal are not in the position they're in right now. But I could also say that about another guy who's on my list. Probably 2 others.
I think for me, it's the beginning of the season for Odegaard. He did not play well. It literally has not been since they came back from
He's
January.
been on fire.
Since January.
He's been on fire, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's right now. Right now. Anyways, number 4, Mo Salah. I had a hard time with this, but same reason as you. Since after the African Cup of Nations, he's injured. He hasn't played a lot. He looked a little rusty against City, I'll be honest.
He had one nice pass.
Yeah. And that was a phenomenal one, yeah.
Messed up.
I don't know how he saw that, but I digress. Number 3, Bukayo Saka.
Okay.
Number 2, Declan Rice. Because
yeah,
without
Rice,
him,
okay.
Rice baby, and number 1, Rodri.
Wow, so we have the same number 1.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not put him on there. Honorable mentions, Ederson, Alisson, Pedro Neto, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Kiro Mitoma.
Okay. I only hate your list a little bit, not a whole lot.
Hate yours a little bit too. So.
But you guys have to let us know, who are your 10 best players in the Premier League right now? Right now.
And how insane are both of us?
Let us know on our Instagram, Brews FC. You'll have to check it out. Make sure you're following us there. You can join our Facebook group, TikTok, Brews and Banter, YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us 5 stars. Give us a thumbs up, a like. Get your merch at the Redbubble store. And of course, don't forget to check out Acorn Hills Clothing. But on that note, that brings us to the end of this episode.
Till next time, my friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.